Welcome to Boss Business Strategies. I am Dr. Marcea, and this is where I bring you front row to the blueprint behind the brands, straight from the millionaire entrepreneurs themselves. And I am your host. I'm a physician, life and business coach, and radio personality, and I help female entrepreneurs who are navigating the business building process to harness the power of their story, build an authentic platform, and chart a clear pathway to business success. It's all about the power, the platform, and the pathway. And so today I am beyond excited to welcome a powerhouse who's done just that. Betty Hines is a powerhouse business strategist. She's a mentor. She's a visionary founder of Women Elevating Women, also known as WOO, which is a global network designed to help multicultural women entrepreneurs scale from six figures to seven and beyond. Following a 40-year corporate career in the C-suite roles at companies such as Allstate and USF&G, she launched WOO in 2018 to close the revenue gap for women-owned businesses and to fuel legacy wealth. Under her leadership, WOO has empowered hundreds of women through its signature five pillars of success: communicate, collaborate, courage, connect, and cultivate, while providing peer support advisory, strategic introductions, and personalized coaching. Betty has also served for nearly 2 decades as a facilitator and chair within the Women Presidents Organization, also known as WPO, supporting over 600 women leading businesses generating $1 million to $50 million plus in annual revenue. Betty, welcome to the stage. How are you?
I am doing fabulous. Very excited about being on your podcast and telling our story.
Yes, I mean, the just from what I read, that's just a snippet of your corporate career. And I mean, it spanned 40 years, and those companies that I listed, what inspired you to transition from that corporate career over into supporting women in WOO?
I don't think that my idea in transitioning is any different than any other woman. Any woman who is a C-suite executive and who has attained six figures plus, that's your bonuses, etc., stocks that you earn in these corporations. At some point in time, in the back of your mind, you're like, you know what? I'm really running a little mini P&L, my own small business within a huge corporation. So
Right.
it's like, okay, I'm working these hours, and what is my return? The return can be, the next promotion, the next promotion, the next promotion, but it's not your own. So always in the back of my mind, and I would submit to you, to the back of the mind of most, not just women, others that are in that corporate role, to see if they can do it on their own. So
Yeah.
I want to taste that water. I want to tread that ocean, and here I am. And so I don't regret it for 1 minute.
Yeah, and as you said it, it's a lot of us have that same feeling. And but I didn't hear any remnant of fear. I heard a question mark. But what was your thought process? What was the mindset of you saying, you know what? I think I can do this. Let's go.
Well, for me, I've always had a pattern and legacy of success. So I said, well, why don't I transition into something where the return on my investment is for me or for the people that I wanted to impact? Because oftentimes in corporation, you're following their vision, their mission. And so it's like, I have my own vision and mission, or translated, I have my own purpose and passion, and I wanted to execute it. So there was no fear. It's just like, okay, where do I start?
Hmm.
Because doing corporate is not the same as doing being an entrepreneur. I mean, it's like you don't have to, you wake up and say, okay, am I going to make payroll? Or how can I make payroll? It's a whole different surrounding that you're in. So there's not fear, it's just the challenge and excitement of, yes, I can do this.
Yeah, yeah. And I love that because it leads to the next question, which is in that transition, what were some of the challenges and how did that determine who you would be as a leader? How did those things come together?
Well, it didn't come together easily. For one thing, though my partners were very successful in our corporate career, it's a difference in your entrepreneur world. There were things that I did not know, which was the impetus for me being part of WPO and then later doing WOO. For example, we went out to look for our first capital, our first infusion of capital. We asked for 10 million, and this is over 25 years ago. And so we asked for 10 million. That was a lot of money. We thought, however, we should have asked for 50 million because it was the same due diligence. And the capital that we were asking for in the industry that I'm in, insurance, it was surplus. So we were constantly going out to the market asking for capital, but we should have asked for a lot more. So having knowledge of the success, the pathway that we were on, we weren't constantly back out there begging for the dollars. So that's where there's a big difference. And so that's a learning process we didn't have. And so that is why with Woo, we want to provide women with those tools, techniques to make sure that they're prepared to move into the entrepreneur world.
Hmm. That's good. So tell me, and you mentioned this insurance, and Woo is helping women to build their businesses. What is the common thread there that allows the two of those to coexist well?
The common thread to me is particularly for women is that they need that courage. It's to give them that they have the know-how. It's to give them that push to say, hey, look, these are the basic tools that you need. Let's implement them. You know how to implement them. But it's almost like you need to have that cheerleader. We feel as women that you have to have A through Z, whereas others might think they might just have A, and they had the courage to go ahead and look to execute it further. And that's the thing that we want. We provide you a safety net, saying that's okay. You can make a misstep, but we're here for you, and we're here to help you to make a determination as to what you could have done differently, what could have been more effectively, and sharing that experience. Because more than likely, the experience that you're going through, somebody else has. And in my day, we used to say, in terms of situations, nobody has a corner on that market. Somebody else has gone through it.
Uh-huh.
So let's share that experience and let's come together and see how we can navigate you through that.
Yeah, I love that. And I am a proud member of Woo, and I know why I joined, but I want to ask you what makes Woo different from other business groups or business accelerators?
Sure. I'm glad you asked that question because oftentimes, people are wondering, are you the same? No, we're not. Woo for number one is that we're taking that 8 to 10% of women in this country who are at six figures and they don't know how to take it to the next level. They get stuck. And so that is why we're different. We do have members in our group, a lot of our advisors and a lot of our CEO advisors and a lot of our advisory council are a million up to, half a billion. So we have those in our network, but they serve as mentors. So the difference for us is that we're based on those 5 pillars that you mentioned. That's our entire curriculum, because those are the things that I viewed where we're a replica, and we replicated the success of women entrepreneurs and women executives. So that's the main difference is that we're not trying to be service to all. We take that 8 to 10% and we provide them with the curriculum and we give them the tools, tips, and techniques and allow them to scale. We allow them to soar. And unlike other organizations, we're not trying to keep them in our membership forever. We want them to take off. And when they feel that they have the confidence to soar and to take off, we want them to explore other circles. However, I will say 15% of them always return. So we do so we do have, the membership at large. But no, we just want to make sure you're equipped. And that's the key difference. A lot of them try to retain you forever, and we're saying no. The other key difference is that we're global. We don't have we're not within that 30, 40, 50-mile radius where we meet in person. We meet virtually intentionally because I feel it's important to get the insights from the people from the north, the south, the west, and east, just like cooking. The people in the north look differently than the south, and the west and the east. So we want that. Plus also globally. We want you to have the insights from the people that are in Africa. We want you to have the insights of the people that are in Europe. It's important to get those perspectives, even though they're not in the same country, and even though they're not in the same time zone, there's always information that they can be shared. And that is the key difference, is that we're serving everybody. We're a multicultural, multi-diverse organization with a curriculum that's going to help you soar to the next level.
Love that. And I have not heard that there's a curriculum in some of these other groups. And so I love to hear that because there's a process. And one of the things you mentioned it was multicultural, um, and that's unique as well. But you mentioned it helps those women that are kind of stuck in wherever level they are, whether it's
Mhm.
250, whether it's 500,000, whether it's wherever, whether 100,000, whatever that is. Can you give I want you to give a message to those women who may feel like they are stuck trying to scale to their first $1 million. What would you say to them?
I would tell them, and this is my new slogan right now, where I'm really pushing it, given the situation in the country today, is that stop looking for capital or looking elsewhere. We need to be our own capital. So find a group, find your circle that embraces that they're willing to support you and to help you take it to the next level. Because no one makes it on their own. You don't have to go it alone. There is a support system, and that is what we provide. So that is the message that I would give them, is that make sure you're in the right circle. And you might be stuck. Then if you're stuck, maybe you need to look outside that circle. Maybe it's time to move on and find someone else. We've had people in our group that never even thought of starting a business. I mean, on my team, we now have, one of our members, our COO, CFO, she's now launched her company and doing extremely well. But it's just giving encouragement. The other big thing is that they get to see, it's almost like, well, it's the phrase used by the 100 Black men, if you see it, you can believe it. We have mentors. We have individuals in our organization that are extremely successful, that are speakers. When we have our pillar meetings and when we have our conferences, those individuals often attend and they have a chance to interact with them. So just being around those who have done it and being around those women who are openly sharing that information, that's critical. And just one last thing I want to say. One of the members told me, they said, Betty, you know what? You're not going to be that auntie who takes that favorite sweet potato pie recipe to your grave. Share the recipe. We share information, because if we don't share it and I take it to my grave, then the legacy dies.
That's good. And Betty, that's one of the things that I can co-sign today is that even before I was a member, you were very open and you would say, you know what, I have a strategic partner I can introduce you to. It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like, what, you have to be a member first, even though you should be a
No.
member. But it's more like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what, if I have something to share, I'm going to share it, and you can take it or leave it, but
Exactly.
it's going to be helpful. And the other thing I'll say, since I'm going down this road, is that you are so approachable
Oh, thank you.
that it is very heartwarming. And it's kind of back to the rich auntie. Yeah, you're not holding on to the sweet potato pie recipe, but you are very welcoming, and that is something that you don't really get in the world in general, but in these kind of groups. And so it's good to have that open door, inclusive environment. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. So one of the things I know, and especially I see you in different containers. I see you going to, I think you were in Chicago for like a small group meeting. I've seen you with your WPO. You just shared that, you're going to be doing some things with them going forward. I know that Woo is relatively small, correct?
Mhm.
Is there a reasoning for keeping the organization small?
Sure. Part of the WPO organization, and actually, WPO is 140 chapters around the globe and 2,000 members, 2,000 plus members. But again, they have to have a certain revenue level, which barely 2% of women business owners in the U.S. have revenues exceeding $1 million. So why I keep it small? Because if you attend those conferences, and we've taken individuals, our WOO members, because we're one of the few, probably right now the only organization that is a partner with WPO, and they extend a membership. They extend an invitation to their. They don't call it conference anymore. It's called the forum. The first time we took our group there, I mean, it was just overwhelming to see all these successful women and 50 fastest, women growing revenues to billions and going from maybe 20 million to like 500 million. It was a bit overwhelming. And so I took that note. And so yes, we do want to keep it small. We can have more members at large. But as far as my WOO crew, where I am personally doing the facilitation, we scaled back and just said, let's just do one, because if it gets to be too much, you have to drink milk, and then you get a little cereal in it, and then you get a little bit more part of your food before you get to the prime rib. So yes, there's a reason for it. So we are looking to expand our membership at large, but it's going to be intentional, and we're going to do it still under our 5 pillars of success.
Yeah. I just want to reiterate for those that are listening, right? We're scaling to our first million. Betty helps to do that, get you from the 6 figure to the 7 figure. But there's an additional partnership with WPO, and they take you from the 7 figure to the 8, 9, and beyond. And so right now, I know everybody's like, what? This is a real thing. And Betty talked about getting into different rooms and finding your people who can help you. And so she is doing just that. And it's amazing. So I want to say thank you for creating this space for those like me and for those that are coming behind me. I appreciate you.
Thank you. We all have to do more of that.
Yeah. So what we're going to do, we're going to pause for a second for a station break. I'm going to shout out my sponsor, and we'll be right back. Are you a female entrepreneur who feels stuck, overwhelmed, or unsure how to move forward? The Life Coaching for Business Builders program helps you harness your inner power, build your authentic platform, and chart a clear path to business success. You don't have to do this alone. Together, we'll create strategies, structure, and accountability to help you boss up in life and business. It's time to claim your power and make your business dreams a reality.
Are you ready to ignite change and inspire action? Join us for the 3rd annual Passion Purpose Peace Summit. I am Her Excellency Dr. Teresa Ann Mosley, owner of TAM, Creating Ambassadors of Peace. I'm looking for virtual speakers and sponsors for this annual event. As a virtual speaker, you will share your insights on passion, purpose, and peace with an engaged audience eager to learn and grow. Showcase your expertise and inspire others to take action. As a sponsor, align your brand with the movement that resonates. You'll gain visibility and connect with also like-minded individuals. Together, we can make a ripple effect of positive change. You can contact me on my website, creatingambassadorsofpeace.com, to learn more about the virtual speaking opportunity and sponsorship opportunity. You can also email me at info@drteresaamosley.com. Peace and blessings.
This is Dr. Marcea, and I'm here with Betty Hines. She is the founder of Women Elevating Women. And we are excited. I'm excited to have her because she's dropping so much knowledge. And one of the things about the show that I love to do is I love to find the $1 million moment. And so, Betty, here's the question. The question is, I want you to go back to when you realized that you had made $1 million. Can you share that moment with us? And more so what it took to actually to get there.
And that is when we had our company. It was American Skyline Insurance Company. It was me and my now husband and 3 other partners. I can say, you've worked so hard to put together your business plan and your strategic plan, and you're working through the operation. And we had agents. We were concentrating in the DC area and the greater Baltimore area, and we were writing business. We had like about 60 agents that were working for us. We had almost 100 employees. So it was like it was like a release. Like, yeah, we can do it. And actually, we could have gone even further. What happened was the timing. 9/11 hit. Nobody was trying to do insurance with 9/11. And then there was a law change with Enron, FIN 40, FIN 47, the law. And that's the law where you could not have another insurance company like businesses providing you capital. So then we had to run off our business because we had a property and casualty company. And so it had to be sold to someone that was doing more, that was doing commercial. So that all being said, we went through that transition. But it was like, you can do it. It just really builds your confidence that it can be done. It's just like having the discipline and having a routine. Once you have your strategic plan, what is important that we influence upon all our senior management team is that you got to stay strategic. You got to stay, and then you have those who are doing the tactical and those who are doing the task. Once you get that $1 million, you can't be, because initially you're doing it all. You're doing the task and you're doing, the tactical. You got to keep yourself up there on the strategic. And that's challenging because it's so easy to want to dip down and scoop down into that area where you have a comfort level. But that's the biggest challenge, is to be disciplined and keep yourself strategic.
Discipline and strategic. Love it. So you know what? I'm going to ask you the same question, but I'm going to ask it a little differently. So we're still talking about the $1 million moment, but I want to know that moment where you helped someone else get to their $1 million moment. What did that feel like, and what was that process?
That's exhilarating. I can't, that's very exhilarating. And words can't really describe it. It's joy, because you've poured in so much into them. And I've seen that, more so with my, when I was doing WPO local chapters, where people went from $1 million to 5 million, 5 million to 10 million. And I've had people that I've worked with that were like at 6 million that are now doing a half a $500 million. It's just profound joy to see them scaling, scaling. And that's the group I have right now. My group right now in WPO, they're from, I think the smallest revenue is like around 11, 12 million up to like about 130 million. And to see them constantly and frequently always expanding and scaling, it's a joyful experience. It's like a revelation, a rebirth. And more importantly, to see that they're willing to reach back and cultivate and develop others even more.
Yeah. So I want to pause, and for those that are listening, I want you to put some emojis in the chat. And Betty, the thing that is so I'm in awe because of the way the numbers just roll off your tongue. We start 11 million, and then they're scaling to 50 million, whatever, whatever that million is. Half a billion, that you said half a billion. You're like, yeah. And it is something because it's factual. And one of the things that I coach on is inevitability. And when you increase your belief to say, you know what, you go from something that's possible to something that's probable, but now you got something that's inevitable. One, because you're hanging out with people who can do it. They've seen it. They know how to maneuver. They know the advice to give you. And so that is comforting in itself, but it helps you kind of borrow other people's belief to get you someplace, and then you implement. And you talked about discipline and having the strategy. Those are the things that we need in these days and times in order to help to scale.
And I will add one thing, not everybody wants to be at a $500 million and $1 billion, because with that comes huge responsibility. And particularly with Woo, one of the things that I've sit back on, I want to get you to $1 million, but if you are comfortable at getting at that $500,000, that's okay. If that's where you want to be, but at least you have all the techniques and tools that you know how to get there. Because not everybody wants to be you've met some of those members, some of my people that are part of my advisory council. They're not trying to run a $20 million operation, because with that comes huge responsibilities. I mean, it's not like, oh yeah, no. I mean, that's huge responsibilities.
Right.
I remember when I was doing WPO Zenith, I had four billionaires that were in a group. One was the lieutenant governor of South Carolina, and she had to put her in a trust. But it's a whole new world. And the smallest revenue was 70 million. And she used to be in awe with these individuals that were doing 250. But the conversations are totally different. But that's where they want to be. But not everybody has the desire to be there. So it's important. It's good to see these individuals that are doing the 10, 50, whatever million. But where do you want to be? You have to find out what circle you want to be in. What is your point?
Right.
What's going to bring you satisfaction? Because me, I'm not. I see what the 20 million, 50 million, the the strategies, the pain points that they go through. That's not where I'm looking to be. If you want to get there, I'll give you all the support and connections to get there. But not everybody wants to be there, so that's important to keep in mind too. But I think it's important for people to make their own choices and they map their own path.
Yeah, and you bring up multiple great points. One is that you have to understand and figure out where you want to be. What's your definition of success?
Exactly.
And if you don't want to be in lawyers' offices and at the bank and figuring out what's happening every time something changes in the world, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I get that. But the other point that you made is that you have the connections and the skill set to say, hey, if that's what you want to go, I can help you get there.
Right.
Nothing has gone wrong. We'll figure it out and
Correct.
keep you moving. I love it. That's
Yes.
phenomenal. Yes. So I want to kind of switch back to those women that are scaling or wanting to scale to that $1 million mark. What do you think is one of the major mindset shifts? Singular or plural. What do you think are the main things that um, that that we need in order to get past our blocks to get to the next level?
What I've come across in having conversations with hundreds, thousands of women, um, I think the biggest shift is that you have to do it by yourself. I mean, there's no reason for you to go out there thinking you have to do it alone. Somebody else, I mean, you might think you have a novel idea and it might be novel to you, but someone has done something like that similar. So I think the biggest shift is willingness to be vulnerable, to allow yourself to be vulnerable and say, hey, look, um, I might make some missteps, but that's okay. As long as I know as long as I come back and correct them and document this, I don't do it again. So I think the biggest fear and setback that I see in the women at this level in Woo is that they feel like they have to have it all together and just go right. And I can't make any mistakes. And I just have to move this thing forward. I have to do it by myself. No, you don't. That is why we brought Woo together. And that's why we have our pillar meetings. So you can, network and talk with people in the breakout rooms. And we have keynote speakers because everybody has a story. And I'll say again, the challenges that you're facing, someone else has faced. I don't care what the industry is in. Employee theft is employee theft, or whatever it is. Trying to scale the business and trying to identify your market. Everybody's trying to do that. And so it's the sharing of the information and the mindset that you have to operate in a silo is what's going to hurt women in business.
Mhm. Yeah, kind of. A lot of the women I know are solopreneurs,
Yes.
and I think there is that thought that I can't share, but
Mm-hmm.
so much. And what I'm hearing you saying is similar to on the personal side. Everyone has a relationship that maybe went south. Everyone has
Mm-hmm.
the death of someone a loved one. And once we start sharing our stories, our struggle, we'll
Mm-hmm.
realize, hey, you know what? There's a whole lot of other people who have been in the same
Do the
boat.
same. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
that's good to know that we don't have to do it by ourselves. So I want to talk about the 5 pillars. And again, the communicate, collaborate, courage, connect, and cultivate.
Mhm.
And which one, Betty, do you think is the most, I would say, misunderstood pillar of them?
I would say, particularly now, uh, given our current climate in the government, is the collaborate.
Mm,
I think that is misunderstood. It is all a point in time. I also would say the communicate pillar, but now I say it's the collaborate pillar. We have people in government contracting and the change, the dismantling of DEI, the dismantling of wanting to say women business. I think that's the biggest misunderstood pillar. Collaborate. We need to collaborate. We need to collaborate more, and that's where we're coming out with the slogan is that we need to be our own capital. You
mhm.
know, we need to learn how to collaborate because there's enough out there for all of us.
Yeah.
So once we learn how to collaborate, unite with our resources is how we're going to scale. And what I'm telling the women now in my group, let's collaborate, but be steady, steadfast, and stealth.
Say that again.
You must be steady,
Mhm.
steadfast, and stealth.
Stealth. I like that stealth one,
Mm-hmm.
which is
That's
moving
important. We
without
have to be stealth.
people knowing what you're doing. So that's why I think it's important to get into these rooms because actually I see some of your posts and
Mm-hmm.
you are some faraway city and you're with a small group of women and it's kind of like seeing the those on the golf course. You
Mm-hmm.
see them playing golf, but you don't see the deals that are being made,
Exactly.
right? We see you all walking down the hallway,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't know what deals are are being made. And that's one of
Mm-hmm.
the things that we're going to need to lock arms better
Yep.
and to share a little bit about what we're going through so people can find each other. And I
Mm-hmm.
know, so I'm a member of Black Door Society. You are a great friend of BDS, and I know you and Sharon have a great friendship. And
Mm-hmm.
that collaboration in itself is like a lighthouse for how we're moving kind of in a
Mm-hmm.
similar space. We're coming
Mm-hmm.
over, BDS comes over to woo and to
Yep.
support. Um, what's your thought on how women should approach collaboration and just kind of give us a nugget or two of what we
Yeah.
should be doing in this space.
Well, you got to vet. You have to vet. Sharon Morton, the founder of BDS, we talk about that all the time. You have to vet. And I'm very careful, more so now than ever, in doing my strategic introductions. I've learned from that because there's something that I learned, and it was because I played these word games, and I hope I pronounce it correctly. Called a sycophant, and this is someone who wants to be connected to you. They give you praises and glory, and but really, it's that they're attaching themselves to you until they can seize their next opportunity. They want to springboard off your relationship, and I don't mind sharing, but it's your intent.
Tent.
So those are the ones that you have to be careful. I've learned this. I'm still learning this. When you're doing your collaboration. So Sharon and I've had those deep conversations about hmm, not every. I don't bring everybody into Woo in my Woo crew. If you want to be part of the membership at large, that's fine. But that to me is the biggest, I would say, flag is, and that's unfortunate, but we still have a few of the women out there. And it's like, look, what you have to do that, sis. There's enough out there for all of us. We can work together. What is it that you need? You and I just experienced that when we were on TV. Sharon couldn't make it. What did she do? Called you, and so it's you and I. It's the same thing with one of the tour, one of the ladies, a slutty vegan. I said, hey, look, here's opportunity. And, she's doing that. Now it's going to be on Sharon's podcast. And I'm trying to get some of you in DC. And those are strong collaborations. So it can't be, it has to be some reciprocity.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm always coming to you to see what you can do for me, but you have to really vet your resources and what is your intent in having this relationship.
Yeah. And you said something very, very great. You said it's the intent, right? If I'm intending just for us to kind of share the same space, I'll help you, you help me, as opposed to my intent is something else, something that is
Mm-hmm.
premeditated. Now that person may not be your best collaborator.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
And that's the way it is today because the doors are closing in terms of where you used to see open opportunities, and the opportunities are there. We just have to find them.
find them. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So I know there is a collaboration um, opportunity coming up with the WU conference that's going to be in
Yes.
Chicago. Can you speak to that?
Sure, I would love to. Our conference is October 22nd through 24th. It's in Chicago, and you can get more detailed information on our website, which is wewcrew.com. That's WEWCREW. What it starts out, and you attended it last year. We kick off our Wednesday evening, which we call the Entrepreneur Woman of Impact. Entrepreneur Woman of Impact is a collaboration between WPL and WU, and we select women from all of North America. We select 8 women who have revenues between a half a million to a million, 8 a million to 10, and 8 from 10 million and above. Very nice award ceremony, sit down dinner, and then the very next morning we will right into our conference. And you had the opportunity to sit on a panel. We
I
will
did.
always have a conference on our 5 pillars of success. We do have one of the keynotes, who was one of my advisors, Kimberly Button. She will be one of the keynotes. We have a couple more that we're not prepared to announce, but we will have the big event for us is our signature Woo Pillar Awards, and that is on that Thursday, our luncheon, and we honor 5 women in the Courage Pillar, five under each one of our pillars, and 12 visionary men. We've been doing this for a few years and recognizing the visionary men, and we have some other announcements that we're going to make that I can't tease you with them, but you'll be excited to hear them.
Amazing, amazing. And I did have an opportunity to come to the WU conference that was in Philadelphia last year. I did sit on one of the panels. It was just amazing
Powerful panel too.
to meet all of the women and to hear their stories and just to hear about the collaboration and to hear about all of the things that are happening. And so I cannot wait to get to Chicago to partake in all of what you are going to to deliver. And I encourage those that are looking to get into bigger rooms to find their crew to go ahead and check the go to the link. Tell what's the website again?
It's wewcrew.com, WEWCREW.com. And we have the early bird special. It's going on until the end of August.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to get ready to close out, but I have a couple of some hot seat questions. Okay, let's call it a fast and the furious questions. Okay, you ready? You ready?
Yes.
Okay, so if Woo had a global billboard, what would it say?
What would it say? It would say, it would say steady, steadfast, and stealth.
Steadfast and stealth. I love that one. Okay, so complete the sentence. Women elevating women is the future of.
Women leaders, entrepreneurs, and executives.
I love it. I love it. And finally, for those women who they want more, what's a one additional piece of advice that's going to spark their $1 million move?
Find their circle. You're in the organization BDS, we're in WU. Find your circle. And it doesn't mean you can't be in more than one circle, but find your circle.
Find your circle. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you, Betty, for being in the room. I appreciate you. Thank you for opening your arms and the doors of your business to invite me in as well as others because you're not gatekeeping. You are helping to pull us up, open the doors, giving us a seat at the table, and we are forever grateful.
Thank you. I appreciate being on your show.
You're welcome. And so this is Dr. Marcea, and I am signing out. I am your life and business coach, and I am bringing folks to the stage who can help us to scale to that $1 million. You can follow me on social media as well as my website at drmarcea.com. That's MARCEA.com. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.